Hey, thanks for joining us on the Eat Crunchy podcast. We are three sisters on a journey towards healthy lives using Weight Watchers to get there. We'd love to hear about your journey as well on our Facebook page or at eatcrunchy.com.
Hey everyone, it is Lisa and Heidi coming at you from eatcrunchy.com, and we're excited to talk to you today. We're trying to get better at getting back to our regular podcast, so here we are today. Rebecca is off doing something important this weekend, and so she's unable to be with us. But today we were thinking, or I was thinking anyway, Heidi, and maybe you can help me with this, but I've been thinking about just how it's starting to feel really complicated. And I listened to, your last podcast where you were talking about sort of like some of the different frustrations that you're having. And I think Rebecca's actually, although she's not here, I think she's feeling the same way. We've been working on this for a while now. And I guess just to set up kind of what I want to talk about, it feels like there's a lot going on in my head, right? So on top of just trying to like work the program, right, and tracking and eating right, we've talked about all this stuff on these podcasts about like getting better with sort of like emotional health, and we are like improving relationships in our lives. And then you've got like things that you want to check off on the list, like I want to exercise, I need to drink more water. It's not just about like eating so many points, it's also about nutrition. I want to be a better cook, you know. And then we've kind of set up this whole thing where we're trying to hold ourselves accountable, so we have this blog and Facebook and podcasts, and we have all these ideas for YouTube. If we had all the time in the world, we would have the coolest YouTube. We know we would, but we just don't have time. But my point is, it feels like this journey for me anyway started to feel overwhelming, and I feel like that's part of what I'm revolting against. So I guess I was just wondering if you've had that same thought, and then I guess I was hoping today we could talk about like how do we go back to basics and kind of strip everything down to just what's the most important thing.
Yeah, I feel like that's what I've been feeling the last couple of weeks, and something that I alluded to in my podcast previously was just feeling just this exhaustion. I'm just kind of like I'm kind of tired of tracking, and I'm kind of tired of it all. And we've been doing this for a year, and by doing this, I mean we've been on Weight Watchers, we've been trudging along for a year, and I feel like we've made some good progress. But I'm tired now,
Right.
And for people who don't have as much to lose, a year would probably be sufficient time to lose all the weight and to get to their goal weight. Some of my friends are to their goal weight and they did it in the last 8 months or so, but I'm not, and I'm not even like halfway through my journey. Mm-hmm. And I want to give up because I'm so tired.
Yeah. So that's all. It's, we got to figure this out though. Cause it's like, we don't stop caring. We don't stop having goals, but it gets exhausting. And I don't know, being such a perfectionist myself, I have like other things in life. I feel like we've talked about this before, but you have stuff that you're like, I can accomplish anything I want. And, I'm a capable person. And then with this, I just keep feeling like I keep hitting wall after wall. Or maybe it's not even that. It's just the expectations of just, it has been a year and, I'm not a size 2 yet. And that's frustrating. So I hear ya.
I think most people feel that in their diet journey anyway. And I don't like, you don't have to have a lot to lose like I do to feel that way. I mean, there's always the joke, like I've been dieting for 6 hours. I'm not skinny yet. Like right. Everybody feels that to some point. I think that when you have a lot to lose, it's just also, it can be overwhelming to think about how much further you have to go.
Mm-hmm.
If I was like, oh, I just got to push through these last 20 pounds, that would feel different than, wow, Heidi, you have more than 100 left. Like, that's really discouraging. And that just feels like, well, why try? I'm never going to get there, So I like the concept of getting back to basics. And I think this is a good topic. Like maybe what we need is just to go back to, when you first joined Weight Watchers, you're really excited and you did really well for the first few weeks. Mm-hmm. I know I did. For the first several months, I did really well. So what is it? How do we get back there?
Because one of the things we've talked about when we've been talking about podcasting and I've been trying to come up with more ideas is I thought, it'd be really fun to kind of go through and do podcasts on like different nutritional concepts and just kind of as a learning. And I got to tell you, the mental energy that it took just to like come up with that thought. And it's so funny because it's not that it's complex or anything. It's just, I start to feel this responsibility as you know, I'm thinking, okay, well, I need to be getting foods that have like a lot of vitamin whatever. I need to be, so if I start to learn all these things, and it's going to make it more complex because now I'm trying to get like so much spinach every day or whatever. You know what I mean? So and then that's when I sort of realized I feel like I'm making it maybe too complicated. Weight Watchers has gone to great lengths to try to keep things simple. And I think that's what one of the things they're trying to do with this freestyle program. And I keep trying to like make it more than that maybe. And I don't know if that's part of it. I don't know, but maybe we just need to kind of go back and just say, let's, when we started, I tried to master like one thing at a time. And I think I might be making it too complex by trying to master too many things. Maybe I need to go back and just say, this week I'm going to just do this one thing really well, even if I don't do other stuff well, and then maybe just try to build on it.
Yeah. Well, and I think if you're strategic about the one thing that you choose, that kind of can spill over into other things. Like I know if when I move more, I make better healthy like food choices. That just naturally happens because I don't know, I don't want to ruin it or because I feel good and I don't, I want something lighter rather than something heavier. So it's almost like you could focus on one thing that will have other consequences, but not focus on that. Just know that, it's like a logical choice, a strategic move.
Mm-hmm.
To help you with the other arenas. Or drinking water. I know that when I drink water, like a lot of water, I don't have space for the other stuff. So maybe I should drink more water and I should set myself a water goal.
Right.
So I'm thinking back about the times that I've been successful. No, so we've talked about this before about like not letting yourself be too limited in what you allow yourself to eat, because then you binge later, or you want to give up because you don't ever indulge in the thing that you really want.
Right.
And I think that's one of the concepts of Weight Watchers is you can have anything, just have it in moderation and make sure that you really want it. But I think that I almost feel like I've given myself too much latitude with that. Like I let there be too much sugary stuff in my house, and then it's such a temptation. And once I have one, I know that I don't stop at just one. I have 3 or 5.
Yeah.
So,
well, and you've got kids too that want that stuff, which is tough, right?
Yeah, but they have the same genes that I have. They shouldn't be eating it either. They're just happen to be skinny right now.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. And I guess another thing I was thinking though, when you were talking about like, what if I only had that last 20 pounds to lose? Maybe we should try that, Heidi. Maybe we should say, I only have 20 pounds to lose. Like, let's pretend. And let's just go lose it. And then if you plateau 20 pounds skinnier, nice. And we can work on the next one.
That's not a bad idea. I know they say set short-term goals.
Yeah.
But to me, like, I know that it's a short-term goal, and I'm like, oh, but after that 5 pounds, I have this 5 pounds, and then this 5 pounds, and multiply that by a few. And that's true. What it gets overwhelming.
It's true, but here's another thing: is you and I are kind of close to a particular breakthrough weight number that I won't state. So I just think that, I don't know, it might be useful to maybe we should just look at it as
that's our only goal.
That's our goal in life right now, is this 20 pounds.
If I could just get on a plane and not need a seatbelt extender, I would be happy in life.
See? And then let's have this conversation. That's one of those concepts of like, if you would go back in time and wish you'd done it, blah, 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 right? So I don't know. I'm kind of excited about this idea. Like, maybe we should do it, and we're sharing it with, whoever listens to this podcast. And we're saying, let's just make a 20-pound goal. Pretend like it's the last 20 pounds to lose. Go for it. And just see what happens at the end.
All right, I'm willing to try it.
All right.
I'll do it.
All right. Now we got to be accountable because we're saying it out loud.
Yeah, that's rough. All right. Well, I think I have more to lose to get to that goal weight than you. I think I have about 25, so maybe I'll pretend it's my last 25 pounds.
It's an interesting thought, though, right? And just don't think past that right now. Just one short goal. Quote unquote. I say short with air quotes because that's a lot to lose 25 pounds. Even that's a hard amount. But I'm wondering if my mindset will be a little bit different if I try not to think past that for a little while.
I do think I have to dig out of the concept of I have so much to lose, because I feel like sometimes I feel like I'm learning less because of it. So at the beginning of, the weight loss journey, or this most recent weight loss journey, I was so energetic and thought, was like, everybody has insight. We're all having the same journey, whether we have 15 pounds to lose or 200 pounds to lose. Like, we're all kind of in this together. And I remember like being at a meeting where someone said something, a behavior that I thought of, that I have in terms of overeating, and they only had like 20 pounds to lose. And I was like, oh wow, like we're so alike. We're just at different points, like they didn't get as heavy as I did, but I like their rock bottom didn't their rock bottom came sooner than mine did. And but now that I feel like I have so much to lose and I'm looking around, it's like almost like I've gotten bitter. Like I look around the room and people say comments and I'm like, psh, you only have 40 to lose. Or there was a leader who, how on their tags they say their name, and then it says, I lost 75 pounds in 2001 or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you only lost 70 pounds, please. Like, talk to me when you hit the triple digits, okay? Like,
which that's actually a lot.
I know, right? That doesn't, just because someone has less to lose, it really doesn't make their insight any less valuable. It just, I've hit the point where I've become bitter about it.
Yeah.
Like,
only 70 pounds.
The sarcastic remarks in my head just need to stop, because I'm not learning anything from my sarcasm.
Well, and another thing this is making me think about is what is, like, we're talking about goals. Like, I don't know. Am I going to be that upset in life if I never lose all of it, but I lose most of it or more of it? You know what I mean? Like,
no, I've long thought,
I don't.
When they have you set this goal weight and it's like your medically approved goal weight, right? You have to be in the 140 for your age and height or whatever. Mm-hmm. That's unattainable. Like, I look at that and I think I would be happy if I was at, 180 or just under 200. That would make me thrilled. Like,
yeah. So maybe, I don't know. That's just maybe another idea of just maybe we're thinking about, although that doesn't lessen that there's more to do. But I mean, I don't know, maybe I think that might be one way for the short-term concept to help, because then we're just not looking at something that it's like the old adage, right? It's not about like the next 50 pounds. It's about the next pound. It's like 1 pound at a time. And we're letting that future number cloud our current effort.
Well, and as we're talking about this, I keep thinking like, okay, so if we set this, we set this goal to lose the last 20 pounds,
a few times.
When was the last time that I was that weight? And it's been more than a decade. I mean, since I've been that weight.
Yeah, we've totally talked about plateaus before too. Like I think that our bodies might be at a set point because we've been at the place that we're at for a while.
But I was like, even if we lose those 20 pounds, like that feels like such a huge accomplishment because it's been a decade since I've been there.
So let's do it.
I hear what you're saying.
You're making the case really well. Well done, Heidi.
I'm feeling like I'm having to adjust my mindset a little bit. So okay, so we'll give it the go for this last 20 pounds.
Yeah, that's it.
And, that's
after
it.
that bikini time. I'm just kidding.
Right. So if we talk about we're getting back to basics, then and I think that's this is a good time to implement those basics.
Yeah.
What are things that we did in the basics at the beginning, or that would help us reach that goal?
I'll tell you, for me, I just did the program. I didn't. It was a different program back then, so that might be part of my mental problem right now. But I wasn't trying to fix more than that. I wasn't trying to make it more complex than that. And I wasn't even trying to cook that much. So one of the things that I've tried to do, that I've been feeling really bad about, is I got decent when I moved up here at starting to cook and prep stuff. And then I've sort of gotten lackadaisical the last few weeks. And what's happened is when I don't have stuff prepped, then I kind of go off the ledge. But the happy medium that I had at the very beginning was I was never really prepping. I was eating, maybe like frozen dinners or whatever, but I mean, at least I was within the points. And now I feel like because I've set a higher standard for myself that I'm going to make everything from home, when I don't stay within my points. You know what I mean? So I've created this like dichotomy of home cooked meals or I'm totally off. And so I think for me, I need to just go back to saying it's not always going to be the best option that's out there, but if it's within the program, then that's okay.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think the concept of just staying within your points is helpful. I think I have the same thought sometimes. I'm like, well, I don't want to have too much sodium because I know that that makes me feel bloated, and I don't want to have too many artificial flavorings because that makes me feel, that makes my stomach feel sick. And obviously, I should avoid those things because they make my stomach feel
Right.
sick. I kind of think like I'd rather have real food, or but then when I don't attain it,
Yeah.
right, I go crazy.
And that's the whole
I
concept
eat
that I
the
was
icing off of 4 cupcakes.
right. But that's what got me into this mess all these years because you start a
Right.
diet, you make it too strict, and then you don't stick to it, and then you end up coming, you're just like, okay, well, I'm giving that up, and then by noon you're like at a Chinese buffet, and then you're like plotting your next diet, and the next day you try again, and then like, but it's too strict, and I feel like I've kind of slowly, because I'm setting higher expectations than the program requires, I feel like I'm kind of slowly getting back into those habits.
Right. Right.
So what about you? Back
Yeah,
to
I can.
basics.
Um, I think there's value in just kind of sticking to the program and staying within my points, kind of thing. For me, I think my back to basics needs to be I need to eat more fruits and vegetables. So I have no problem eating a lot of the fruit that I really like. I mean, I've probably eaten 4 pounds of cherries this week.
That's
But
expensive.
just because it has 0 points doesn't mean that it's free,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it affects my body. Like, I need a more diverse range of fruits and vegetables, and I was really good about that at the beginning because I was trying to eat food that fueled my body as opposed to you know eating eating a donut and then so I guess it's kind of as I'm saying it, it kind of feels like it conflicts with what we just said, except that I could stay within my points and eat a donut and then eat nothing else for the rest of the
Hmm.
day.
But you're
Or
starving.
or I'm starving and I'm not happy. Or I could just make sure that I'm eating lots of fruits and vegetables. I'm satisfied, I'm full, and it's fueling my body. Like that at the beginning, that's how I looked at things. Like, I want food that's going to fuel my body, that's going to let me move the way that I want to move. So I feel like my back to basics is thinking about food in a different way again, like thinking about it not as how much can I eat in the least amount of points,
Well,
which
there
is
is
how I
that.
think now, to instead thinking about it like which foods can I eat that's going to fuel my body in the way that I want it to.
Well, but that you're reminding me though, because we've talked about this before too, that we all when we started Weight Watchers, we're not all the same people, right? So the stuff that we were doing before and the way that Weight Watchers kind of impacted us was a little bit different. So I didn't jump on the fruit and vegetable bandwagon until later with Weight Watchers, but I was still successful just because I was finally having some sort of control, but with variety. And for you, it sounds like you
Right.
started, and back then it was fruits and vegetables that were free and nothing else, right? So that probably influenced you. Sounds like it did, and that helped you. So that's good. I mean, so we don't have to have the same basics, right?
Yeah. No, we don't. I know that when I eat vegetables, I don't like vegetables, but I know when I eat them,
Hmm.
I feel better. And so I feel like I've relied too much on the concept that fruits and vegetables and other things are free, and I eat them in mass quantities. And I didn't used to do that before in the prior program either. Like, fruits and vegetables were free, but the other things weren't. So I mean, I eat a lot of
Yeah.
turkey slices. Like, just because it's 0 points doesn't mean that I should eat it in mass and like eat a ton of it. I don't think that's not what's. I'll clarify. That's not what's preventing me from losing the weight. What's preventing me from losing the weight is eating the frosting off of cupcakes and eating fried foods and like there are other things that I'm doing that. But I feel like when I did that and I ate more fruits and vegetables, I didn't feel as much temptation for the other things because I felt like my body felt differently than it does
Oh,
now.
okay. That's interesting.
So I feel like that's different for me. Like I feel like I need to think about food in a different way.
Hmm.
And it's probably less about the fruits and vegetables and more about thinking about food differently than I'm thinking about it now.
Yeah.
Because I might make better choices if I think about it differently.
Well,
I also think in terms of going back to basics, I need to go to meetings consistently. I used to go to meetings every week. Every week, like no fail, I would go to a meeting. Um, but then I started this new where my health plan pays for it and they only require you to go twice a month. And as a result, I've only gone twice a month because that's all they require. But I know that meetings help me, or at least the weigh in helps me, because sometimes I'm like, oh, I have 2 weeks to fix my mistake rather than just 1 week.
right.
And so
That's a different way to look at it.
I go on the deep end. Yeah, and then I take the full 2 weeks to kind of help myself get better. And so I need that accountability of weighing in consistently once a week. And for me, I do that at meetings. So I need to go to the
Well,
meeting.
and even these podcasts, like we've kind of, the past few weeks have just been difficult. There's been a lot going on. And
Yeah, we've had a lot
yeah,
happening.
and it feels like, at least for me, I wasn't going to meetings, being online, but I felt like the podcasts were helpful, and then we kind of slowed down on those, and we have a weekend where we don't do a podcast, and I don't really do that reset, have that time period of thought very much. Um, the other thing I was going to say though, is that I think I feel like for me, I've just felt like I keep doing the same thing over and over again, where I just keep setting expectations for myself, and then like when I fail at them, like I get into the cycle of maybe like just a funk or like
Right.
mini depression or something like that. Um, and so I think one of the basics, if we're talking about basics, is just trying to go back to just forgiving myself and not kind of holding it against myself, and appreciating the effort and kind of seeing every day as a clean slate. And I think I was doing that pretty well for a while. And I think when the weight loss slowed down a little bit, and then I started to have, just like you described in the last podcast, right, the down, up of that 5 pounds or whatever, I just
Mm-hmm.
feel like I started to get depressed about it. And that only makes it worse because then you're not making good choices, you know? And so I don't know. I want to try to bring some optimism back and just forgiving myself, and I don't know. Maybe that will help also.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in a lot of meetings where someone has said something similar, where like I didn't come to last week's meeting because I knew that I was going to gain, and I felt so bad about it, and every time everybody else in the room says, "Oh, you've made a good choice by getting back and coming here and blah blah blah," and it's like we hold ourselves to this huge high standard rather than, and I think everybody does this, we hold ourselves accountable to this unattainable. I mean, it's attainable, but I feel like I'm really stumbling over my words today. We just really hold ourselves high, accountable. What's the right
Well,
phrasing here?
I think I mean, I guess what I'm hearing, what you're saying is, I feel like the mistake is when, if you're eating something, you're having an emotional moment and you're like downing some Little Debbie's or something. That's not the same thing as like
Right.
murdering your neighbor. I mean, we attribute this like negative, almost just like it's bad behavior. It's, like if I didn't go to that Weight Watchers meeting, or if I, something like that. Yeah, we're feeling
Like you feel the
shame for something
shame.
that's, I feel like what we were trying to learn, or what I think we've talked about a lot on these podcasts, is this concept of, this is a multifaceted situation and issue, and it's not so simple. And eating a piece of chocolate is not like, it's not a sin. It's a choice, and we're working through these choices and impact and all that stuff. But why do we feel shame about that? It's not that we should feel like happy, like let me have all the
And
chocolate I
like,
can have, but it's more complicated than that.
Well, why don't we just move on? If I make a mistake at work, I own it. I say, I'm sorry about that. Like, and then I move on. I don't continue to dwell on it in most cases. Sometimes I do if it was a really bad mistake. But in most cases, you kind of like, you make it right with your coworkers and then you move on. Like, why
Yeah.
are we not doing that to ourselves and saying, like, I made a mistake, I'm going to improve and move
Yeah.
on?
Yeah. It's
I don't know.
it's because you talk about it and it's like, oh, it's so obvious, but in real life, it's hard. It's hard to do that.
Yeah. So as you were talking, I was thinking about all the excuses that I've had the past few weeks. I've been like, oh, there's a funeral this week. I'll try and get, I'll start next week because this week is going to be too hard. Or, oh, I've got date night this week. This is going to be too hard. I better start next week. Or, I mean, I've had a lot of various, excuses the last few weeks. And as we're talking about this, I'm thinking, oh, we're about to go on vacation. I better start this next week. And then I thought, you know what, Heidi, you can start right now. Like you can. I'm confident that when you go on vacation,
Right.
there will be food you can eat. that's within plan, so that you come back from vacation feeling better about yourself than when you left.
Well, and what
So I feel like that part of the back to basics is that I did it before when I
Yeah.
first started. I did it anyway. I didn't let there be excuses. I just did it. And now I'm finding all these excuses to put in my way. So I need to just stop with the excuses and just be like, I'm going to follow the plan. And you know what? The past few weeks, there's only one piece of cake that I've had that I can remember that was like worth it. Everything else that I've eaten was not worth it. So why, like, it's not like it was so memorable that I had to have it. I could have gone without it and been less weight than I am, now. I'm not going to remember what I'm missing out on. I'm not going to remember that really awesome food that, or seems so awesome. And if it is really awesome, I can have a bite and be done. I don't have to eat, the entire
Right.
appetizer.
And thinking about the concept as just back to basics is, if you're on vacation or something, let yourself work the program, but not if it's not in the best way to work the program, like we were talking earlier, that's fine, right? It's kind of like doing the best you can
Yeah.
and then being okay with it. Instead of trying to have this perfect, if you can't get that 4 pounds of cherries or whatever your goal is. That sounds good, by the way.
Yeah, they were so previously they were $4.99 a pound and I felt awful eating so many, but that's what I was gonna eat. And I just felt like rather than a handful of chocolate chips, like cherries was better, so I just spent the money because I don't like to spend that much money on fruit, right? But last week they were
Amazing.
98 cents a pound. So I stocked
That's
up and I've
amazing.
been eating quite a few of them. I keep a bag by my desk. So I've actually learned this about myself. I work from home, but I'm lazy. And even though I have a plethora of things to eat in my kitchen, I will not get up from my desk if I have something at my desk already. So I've kept a bag of cherries at my desk all week long. I haven't put them back on the fridge. They're fine to sit on my counter or on my desk because, we keep our temperature pretty cool. So I've been eating, like when I'm munchy, I just eat them because they're here already. And I won't get up and go seek out
Smart.
something else if there's something already on my desk. So I know, I've learned that about myself, that I need to keep healthy food already at my desk, not just in my house. If I walk to the kitchen, I've given myself an option and I'll be looking for other things I can eat. Once I walk to the kitchen, there's a plethora of bad choices I can make. If I keep it at my desk, I'll make a good choice because it's already here and I'm lazy.
That's smart, Heidi. Although I wonder, like when I'm craving stuff, I'll go to great lengths. But that sounds good. Well, okay, so
The time I'm not craving something, I
you're
just
munchy.
want to eat something and I'll wander around being
Yeah,
like,
no,
oh,
I get it.
what munchy thing should I put in
Well,
my
cool.
mouth?
So we have a goal. We're gonna try to focus on basics, and we're gonna try to pretend like that next 20 pounds is the last 20 pounds. That's all we have. There's nothing after that, and so let's just try to work to get to that point and just see if that's different for us, right?
We'll have to fill Rebecca in and see if she wants to be on plan with us.
I
Does
wonder
she
if
want to share the same
I
goal?
know she doesn't like to set particular goals like that, but I don't know. We'll see. So, okay. Well, cool. Well, thanks for chatting. And I guess, as always, I'm interested in anybody making comments about, are you also frustrated? Do you kind of feel like if you've been on the plan for a while, is there something, are we making it too difficult for ourselves sometimes? Like, do you agree with the stuff we talked about? Or Do you have any suggestions to help us kind of keep going and get to the next step? So I think we would appreciate any comments. Thank you so much. Have a good week.
Thanks so much, guys.